Right, so shoot, let's see the question.
So the last woman you were speaking with, she was talking about unavailable men. I'm the unavailable woman. And so dating is pretty boring to me. There are other things that are a lot more interesting. I don't get enough out of it to spend the time doing it.
I think this is not the first time I've heard this from a woman, and it's actually more common than I think women want to admit. And you see this a lot with women who have been in a relationship for a long time, and you see it a lot with women who have been out of relationships for a very long time. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that, and I think it's worth mentioning you have a unique career as well, right? Which plays into this. So you want to shoot for. If you want to mention it, you can.
Well, yeah, I'm a men's sex coach, and I also do jiu-jitsu a lot, and so that takes up a lot of my time, and I really enjoy both. And for me, I get more satisfaction in going and rolling with these guys and training in jiu-jitsu than I do going on dates.
Yeah, and this is something that that really does impact somebody's dating life, obviously, because no one's really presenting anything that you want. And because no one's presenting anything you want, you don't put yourself in a position where anybody could present anything that you want, so therefore nobody can rise up. So the first thing that I always ask somebody in this situation is, do you want to be dating somebody?
I don't know. I guess I'm open to the possibility, and there are some days that I feel like I want it, and then usually I get a good night's sleep, and I'm kind of over it by the next day. And
I want to take a moment. I want to jump forward in time,
okay.
And I want to talk to a different version of you. And I'd like to talk to the you in about 15 years, where life is different. Your kids have gone to college, and the house is empty. And in that environment, that version of you is no longer young and beautiful and got the energy to maybe roll in jiu-jitsu as much as you're doing now. That version of you, if they could meet you today, what advice do you think they'd give you?
I think about that also, but then I feel like, don't you think that version of me will meet somebody then?
And this is why I always ask that question. There is a very good chance that maybe you don't need help, and that maybe at this point in time, it's right for you to focus on you. And you don't need to worry about somebody else being added to your life, and you don't need to go on that pursuit. Why go and hunt somebody or put yourself available to meet people that are just gonna disappoint you? On the other hand, if when I said that, you're like, well, I am worried that I'll be alone, I am worried that I won't get what I want, then in that situation, it makes sense to start focusing on that now. I've got 4 children, and one of the most devastating things that the mothers ever hear is that one day the mums won't be the most important person in the child's life. But that is an actual fact. So there is a chance that, in their life, in the mother's life, that it absolutely breaks their heart to think about that. But it is a thing that's going to happen at some point. And when it does, it's all about how you'll react to that. By all means, you could wait until that moment and then meet somebody then. However, it does get significantly harder for everyone as they get older to meet people. I have a very good friend of mine. She's a past client. She's asked for advice before. And she spends most of her life living alone. And she travels around the world with her career. It's one of the benefits of her career is she can do that. It's just her and her cat. And they travel around the world. Well, she had a friend come and live with her for a while. And that friend was another woman, and there was nothing romantic between the two of them. By the end of 3 days, they couldn't stand each other because this woman had got so used to not interacting with another human being that she actually couldn't do it anymore. And so this isn't so much a direction of what to do, but an invitation for you to ask yourself if you're making decisions now that at some point in the future you might regret. And I think as a woman, it's completely acceptable, justifiable, natural and normal to devote your entire life to children. However, I have seen time and time again, once those children get older, I see women that regret devoting their time and attention to these children who have then moved on and forgotten about them. And it's not that they regret helping them. It's not that they regret being there for them. It's that they regret giving them everything.
Right.
And that they wish that they'd kept just a little bit for themselves. When someone tells me that that dating is pointless and they don't see anything doing it, it's always a warning sign for me. Not about that person, but a warning sign that they themselves might not be enjoying their own company. And I'll tell you why. When I go on a date with somebody, I go for a self-amusement factor. I go because I enjoy it. If I go on a date, I'm going to Topgolf because I want to go Topgolf. Or if I go go-karting, I go because I want to go go-karting. I'm doing things I want to do, and it's just nice to do it with somebody else. And sometimes that somebody else is somebody I know. Sometimes it's a friend. Sometimes it's somebody that I don't know, but I get a chance to meet somebody new. And in a situation like you're saying, it sounds like you've got a lot of routine and you're doing a lot of the same thing over and over again, which is great. But to challenge you a bit, how often do you go on a date with a friend?
A couple times a month.
Okay. And on a date by yourself?
By myself, whenever I want.
Okay. But is it something that you do on a regular basis? Do you actually take time to go and do things outside of the normal, to stretch yourself?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes being
Sometimes.
weekly?
Like, every other month, maybe?
Every other month. Yeah. So based on what you're saying, I'm seeing somebody that twice a month is maybe going out with somebody else. And then every other month is devoting time to yourself. And I'm seeing someone who has a career that serves other people. I'm seeing a mother who serves 2 children. And I'm seeing someone that has jiu-jitsu, where it sounds like you enjoy going out there and doing it, but I get the feeling that you might spend a lot of your time sharing your experience at jiu-jitsu and helping others as well.
Well, I mean, people do follow my journey, but it's really, I do jiu-jitsu because I love it. I get a lot out of it, and it brings me probably the most joy of anything that I'm doing right now in my life, and so that's why I spend so much time doing it. You know, I'm there 5 to 6 days a week, and I feel like my jiu-jitsu buddies, they're my family, you know, and like that's where I want to be.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think in life, we should always be doing the thing that we want to be doing, the things that we love. I would just ask you to look and see if maybe you're giving yourself away to so many things, and you might not be spending time giving you time for you. And I don't just mean alone time, I mean time to try new things, to experience something new. You found this thing that you love, and that's great. But sometimes we do get trapped in a niche of just doing the same thing over and over again, and we start to lose that experience of trying new things, of reaching out and having other experiences, and being open to meeting people. And again, I think this is something that really has to come down to you, where you've got to look at yourself and ask yourself, are you going to be willing to do that, or do you really like being set in your ways at this point? But I can tell you from my dad's perspective. My dad's he's 80 years old. And my dad's got to a point in life where he only does the exact same things every day. And my dad will say to me all the time, he's like, well, I love what I do. I sit in the garden and I putter around, and then I go to bed at the same time. And my dad's life is 100% on routine. And that's fine, except that's been my dad's routine for the last 30 years. And he's completely set in his ways, and this is just all he's ever gonna do. And I think he's okay with that. However, there is a large part of life that my dad is missing. My dad's going on vacation again this year to Spain, the same place that he always goes on vacation, where he does the same routine and he goes to the same places and he sees the same things. Whereas as human beings, we're almost built to explore and try new things. And to sum up dating as a single entity, you're missing the opportunity to meet all these incredible people and have wonderful experiences. And I'd remind you that dating doesn't mean sex, dating doesn't mean marriage, dating doesn't have to mean a relationship. Dating can just mean having cool experiences with friends. I've got a lot of friends that date their best friend, and they just go out on dates together all the time. And so what I'm really seeing, I think, is somebody who might be conflicted, who thinks that they love what they do, and that's great. But if you were 100% sure of that, there wouldn't be doubt. My dad knows that he wants to do the same thing over and over again. Yeah. And if that doubt is entering your mind, then maybe it's worth once a week trying to go on a date with a friend and doing something different, trying a different experience.
Well, yeah, with a friend it's fine because I already know I'm going to enjoy it. You know, I already know I like this person.
Right.
I'm happy to do it. But to go meet somebody new where, I don't know.
Well,
and all the time devoted to the lead up, you know, to the date, and then the after of like, are we going to see each other again? Do I have to talk to them? You're like,
what I love about this is you're already hating the whole relationship before you've met the person. Which again, to me, that's even more warning signs that it's your interpretation of it, not the real thing. Here's what I would do. If you were my private student right now and we were working together, which is exactly what we're doing, I would say to you this. When was the last time you went to maybe a jiu-jitsu convention?
a convention? I haven't been to one.
Maybe a tournament outside of your hometown.
I do go on dates with jiu-jitsu guys that I don't train with.
And this is kind of where I'm getting to. When you love something like this, you know, I'm not going to say that was the right way to go, because I think you knew it, and I think that is the right way to go. If you love this so much that you're spending 6 days a week doing it, it might pay for you to explore the boundaries of this hobby that you love. Yeah. By going to jiu-jitsu conventions in other towns, by trying classes in other areas, you'll meet people that you don't train with, that aren't part of your family.
Right.
And these new people have the same love for the same thing that you like. And if the worst thing that ends up happening is that you make a friend that likes jiu-jitsu, who cares?
Yeah.
But maybe, just maybe, you'll meet somebody and actually enjoy being with them. One of the things I love about people that do jiu-jitsu, and I don't know why, there's a lot of people that I train that do jiu-jitsu. I don't know why, but I do. And I know that they tend to only train in their same classes in their same schools. And I think it would be great to take a moment and just visit another school where everyone's new, you have a shared mutual love for jiu-jitsu, and you can just go and try jiu-jitsu in a different place. Yeah. You know you'll love it because it's jiu-jitsu, but at the same time, you'll meet other people. Mm-hmm. And if you do meet someone that you connect with, great. And if you don't, who cares? At least you get to enjoy some jiu-jitsu.
Got to do it anyway.
Exactly. And I think that's what I would challenge you to do. I think it would make a lot of sense for you to just try to do something new, even if it's within the realm of things you're comfortable with. And then that might open itself up, or it might let you know that actually what you're doing is completely fine and there's nothing wrong, because ultimately the whole point of this is to be happy. Right. And if you are happy and if you're completely comfortable where you are, then stick with it.
Because when I'm by myself and it's me and my cat, I'm happy too.
Right, exactly that. And she is that woman that is with her cat. She is very happy in that situation. And so if that's where it is.
Yeah, you know, this week I had 5 weeks to myself, and 2 of those weeks I was off the mat because I was injured. And like, I was like, I could go date right now, but I'd rather catch up on work.
I would, I love that. I would definitely check. So I never think of things as going dating. And I think that's where there might be a disconnect. I think in your head, you go to date. Whereas for me, it really is, I'm going to go and see a movie, or I'm going to go and do golf, or whatever it is I'm going to do. I've got this activity that I want to do. And it's just, I'm going to invite this person that I met that seemed like they might be fun to see if they want to go it. And for me, dating is more about an exploratory experience. I just want to do this cool activity that I want to do, and it will be interesting to this other person to see what they think about it. And I'll almost always be bringing them to something that I enjoy anyway, just like I said with jiu-jitsu. So worst comes to worst, I enjoyed whatever it is that I did. And I think if you can get that out of your head, you're not dating them, you're just going to do an activity that you love. And there's somebody else there. And if they absolutely suck, I feel like you're the kind of person that'd be very comfortable just being honest and being like, hey, man, listen, you're kind of cool, but not really cool for me. But this was fun. Let's not call again, right? And I think that's absolutely fine. But at least it will. And again, I wouldn't be saying this if you weren't doubting it. But I do feel that somewhere inside you there is some doubt about whether you do actually love this. And I think you do not like the idea of dating. But from what I'm hearing, you do like the idea of doing fun activities, and you're not against meeting new people. Well,
and see, we're actually on something, because there is the part of me that does have the doubt, but then I wonder, is that my societal conditioning, or is that really my true authentic self? And that's what I question, because I know that I'm comfortable, I know that I'm happy and content, and then that doubt creeps in, and I'm like, where's that coming from? Is that really me, or is that just those deep-seated patterns? And that irritates me too.
So yeah, I love I love that irritates you.
Because I want to be 100% in control of my mind, my brain, and not have these patterns control me. Like.
So I always find, and again, I'll challenge you on this. I find society can only control you if you believe society can control you. The fact that you believe it is more where the issue lies. I don't believe society can control me. I actually don't believe that anyone can be controlled unless they want to be controlled. Stanley Milgram did this great experiment that found that human beings are equally likely to lead as to be led. And I think that in your life, the only your fear of being controlled is almost what's controlling you. I would do what you feel like doing. If you are in a situation where you're like, sometimes I feel lonely, I think you might want to accept that maybe you're lonely. Because there's no society going around being like, you're lonely and you need to be lonely, right? That's a genuine feeling. And when somebody's really sure of themselves, they're just really sure of themselves. They don't double guess themselves or worry about it. They're like, no, this is exactly it. The people that I like, my dad's a good example. My dad does not want to date anyone ever again. I'm clear. Like, he is just not interested. He doesn't doubt it. He doesn't question it. He doesn't want to do online dating. He doesn't want to go and meet people even, right? But you come across like a sociable person. I've been watching you talk to people. I think there is a part of you that's lonely. And I think your fear that society is controlling you is allowing you to fight against that loneliness, to be like, I'm going to be lonely because society's not going to control me.
But that's the thing, I'm only lonely like maybe 2% of the time.
Right. But when you date somebody, and we'll remove the word dating, but when you spend time with somebody, it shouldn't be a detriment. It shouldn't be bad. It's an addition. The idea is you're adding someone to your life to make it better.
See, I haven't found that.
That's because you've not met the right person.
Yeah.
And in those situations, that's all about going to the right place to meet those people. And this is something that I find a lot of beautiful women struggle with. It's when you're beautiful, the only men that approach you are ones that are used to approaching beautiful women. Mm-hmm. And those men are usually so confident of themselves that they're also used to not having to treat them correctly, not doing things correctly, and putting themselves in a situation where they can then be like, all right, I got what I want, I'll see you later. Right. Whereas the men that are nervous about approaching beautiful women would respect them, care for them, treat them like, oh my gosh, I've got to do everything right because I don't want to lose them. And then there's another group of men that would just be really weird and creepy, and that would be a whole issue as well. And I know because I spend a lot of time teaching that second group, a lot of guys who actually have a lot to offer, and actually in their real life, they're usually pretty good leaders and they're confident, they know what they do. They just haven't had the experience, and it is experience, to know what it's like to be with somebody who's beautiful. And funny enough, the easiest way to bypass that is to connect on something that isn't dating. And that's where jiu-jitsu is probably your secret weapon. And I think, like I said, don't go on a mission to date people. Don't go on a mission to find a partner. But why not go on a mission to enjoy jiu-jitsu in other areas and meet other people? And then, there's this great phrase, right? Give love a chance. Just give human beings a chance. And maybe you'll find somebody who is fun to be around, has similar connections to you. Maybe they're not super confident when it comes to women, but they're a great person. And they are, a leader, and they're good at what they do and they excel. And maybe they do need that little nudge from you to let them know, hey, it wouldn't be terrible if we ate food together once, maybe, right? And then they can be like, all right, cool, I'll eat food once. And then if at the end of that meal, you're like, wow, that didn't suck, maybe we could eat again in the future. And to allow yourself to open that doorway to just meeting new people. And now I do want to hit home because I want to share something that I think is very important. You have 2 children. They look to you for what the example of a healthy relationship is. And if you only have a healthy relationship with yourself, that might not be as healthy as you need it to be. Having a healthy relationship with yourself is very important, as is showing them how to be healthy with other people. And I know how old your children are, and they're at an age where they're going to become very curious about other people. And if they hear you say something like, other people aren't worth it, dating sucks, there's no point, they're going to go one of 2 ways. Teenagers will either hear what you say and take it to heart, or they'll rebel against you. And if they rebel against you, they may jump into a relationship with absolutely everyone they meet to prove you wrong. And that scenario is one that I feel most parents wouldn't really want to have happen. So one of the hardest things about being a parent is learning through the eyes of our children and realizing that the lessons that we're learning from our parents, we actually might be teaching the exact opposite and wrong lesson to our children. And so, not saying that you have to jump into a relationship, but it might pay for them to at least show that you can interact with other people and show them that it's okay to reject people that aren't worthy, and maybe explain to them, hey, this is why this person was no good, or this is what went wrong there, or this is what I didn't like. But that can be a really powerful tool for them too. And again, just coming from you, if you're comfortable where you are, and then you can teach from that point and be like, hey, this is just your mom. Your mom just doesn't like hanging out with other human beings. You guys are okay barely some of the time, right? But
I mean, I have humans around me almost all the time, so it's not like I'm alone. But
right. Well, and that's cool, and that's why I think, like I said, I think there's some cognitive dissonance in you. I think actually you're a social person. I think you do like being with other people, and I think that you're someone. I know how good you are at teaching connection and touch, and there is some poetic justice in someone who's good at teaching connection who has a fear of connection. And that loneliness, like I said, I think it's your fear of society controlling you that is actually allowing fear and society to control you. And I think maybe just be open to meeting human beings. They're not all terrible.
thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate it.